You could hear the commotion before you even saw what was happening. It was a crisp Saturday afternoon at the Hudson Valley Mall. Families walking, music from open store doors, and suddenly shouting near the west entrance. A man in uniform, Officer Brandon Keene, had pinned a teenager to the ground beside the mall fountain. "Stop resisting," he barked, his knee pressing into the boy's back. But the kid wasn't resisting. He was frozen, terrified, his palms flat on the pavement. His name was Evan Matthews, 17, dressed in a dark hoodie, jeans, and sneakers. He had just walked out of a tech store with a laptop bag, a gift he bought for his mother's birthday. People gathered, pulling out phones, recording. "What did he even do?" someone asked. "I think he stole something," another whispered. Officer Keene's tone was full of authority, the kind that demanded attention. "Got you this time. Thought you could run." Evan tried to speak through trembling lips. "Sir, I paid for this." Keene didn't let him finish. "Save it. You fit the description." It was the same line he'd used a dozen times before. He'd been on the force 8 years, and deep down, he believed he could sense guilt before it was proven. But something about this moment felt off. Hello, everyone. Before we begin today's video, I need your help. We have noticed that the channel is losing traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue to bring you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to the story. A mall security guard approached nervously. "Officer, we didn't call this in. What's going on?" "Shoplifting suspect," Keene snapped. "Tech store clerk said someone matching his description stole a laptop, but no such report had been made. The clerk inside had simply waved goodbye to Evan, who had just paid with a debit card. By now, a small crowd had formed. Phones out, comments whispered. A mother pulled her son closer. A group of teens stood frozen nearby, anger mixing with fear. "Man, that's not right," one said under his breath. Evan's voice cracked as he tried again. "Check the bag. Please, there's a receipt in there." But Keene didn't. He was too focused on the optics, the crowd, the adrenaline, the sense of control. He thought he was preventing a theft from turning into a chase. What he didn't know was that this was about to become the most recorded and replayed moment of his career. Minutes later, the distant hum of multiple black SUVs echoed from the parking lot. Their engines shut off simultaneously. Doors opened. Men and women in suits stepped out. 10 of them, calm, synchronized, purposeful. Keene barely noticed them at first. He was still arguing with a bystander holding a phone. "Sir," one of the suited men said firmly, flashing an ID badge. "Let him up. Now." Keene blinked. "Excuse me?" The lead agent, tall, composed, mid-40s, with the kind of quiet authority that didn't need to be shouted, spoke again. "That young man is under federal protection." Keene froze. What did you just say?" The agent pulled him aside. "You just tackled the son of an active Federal Bureau Cyber Operations officer, and we've been monitoring him for his own safety." The crowd went silent. Evan slowly sat up, breathing hard, his hoodie smeared with dust. One of the agents helped him to his feet and brushed him off like he was royalty. Keene felt the color drain from his face, but it was too late. Phones had captured everything. The tackle, the shouting, the fear. His body camera was recording too. And in less than 3 hours, the footage would hit every local news channel labeled, "Cop detains teen without cause. FBI agents intervene." By evening, the video had millions of views. At first, Keene tried to justify it, told his sergeant he acted on instinct. But the department's internal review moved fast. Calls came in from the district office, then from Washington. The boy's father, Agent Samuel Matthews, was livid. Not because his son had been humiliated, but because the officer hadn't listened, hadn't even paused to verify. At 9 a.m. the next day, Keene was ordered to appear at the precinct briefing room. Cameras were set up. The press was waiting. He walked in, pale, his badge clipped to his belt like a weight. Across from him stood Agent Matthews, in a dark federal suit, and his son, Evan, calm now, wearing the same hoodie. Keen opened his mouth to apologize, but the department head spoke first. "Officer Keen, yesterday's actions were unacceptable. Your disregard for protocol has caused irreparable harm to public trust." He turned to the gathered media. Effective immediately, Officer Keen is suspended without pay pending investigation. Flashes went off. Cameras clicked. Agent Matthews then stepped forward, speaking not as a father, but as a federal man. "I don't demand punishment. I demand awareness. My son wasn't targeted because he did something wrong. He was targeted because someone assumed." His voice filled the room. What happens when authority forgets to verify? Innocent lives get broken. Respect for power starts with restraint. Evan stood beside him quietly, and for the first time, Keen saw not a suspect, but a human being trembling from a memory that shouldn't have existed. 2 weeks later, the department held a public retraining session. Every officer in the precinct attended, mandatory. On the screen, they played the footage. Keen watched himself frame by frame. The tackle, the shouts, the disbelief in the boy's eyes. The presenter paused the video and said, "This is how trust dies. This is why context matters. This is why we verify before we act." Keen couldn't look up. Outside the precinct, the community held a small gathering, not a protest, but a silent demonstration for accountability. Evan was there, this time standing beside his father. Reporters asked him how he felt. Evan's answer went viral again. "I forgave him," he said softly, "but I hope he learns that power is nothing without patience." That line ended up on national TV, quoted by morning hosts, retweeted by influencers, and the clip of Keen's bowed head beside the words, "Power is nothing without patience," became a symbol of a deeper message spreading far beyond one city. Months later, the story faded from headlines, but not from people's hearts. Officer Keen quietly resigned from the force. Word spread that he'd enrolled in community college, studying conflict management and law. Meanwhile, Evan received an invitation to speak at youth seminars about accountability and justice. He didn't want to be known as the kid from the video. He wanted to be known as the young man who forgave. And that forgiveness changed everything. When one reporter asked him why he still spoke kindly about the man who humiliated him, he smiled faintly. "Because if I become angry forever, I let the moment own me. But if I forgive, I own it back." The crowd applauded. In the end, the moment that began with a harsh tackle outside a mall became a national reminder that justice isn't just about enforcing the law. It's about understanding the human standing in front of you. It was a quiet Tuesday morning, the kind of morning when small-town cops thought nothing dramatic ever happened. Officer Brandon Keen sat behind the wheel of his cruiser, staring at his reflection in the rear-view mirror. It had been months since the incident at the Hudson Valley Mall, months since his face was plastered across news stations, since he'd been called a reckless cop who tackled a kid. He'd lost his badge, his career, and most of his confidence. But today was different. He had been reinstated. Probationary duty, limited patrol. They called it community trust rebuilding. Keen was determined to start over. No shortcuts, no assumptions. Then came the call. Unit 27. We've got an unregistered vehicle in a no parking zone outside Riverdale High. Tag reads temporary plate, possibly fake. Handle it. Keen sighed, picked up his notepad, and drove toward the school. When he got there, a sleek black sedan was parked near the front entrance. Tinted windows, engine off. It looked out of place among the beat-up student cars. A teenage boy leaned against it, scrolling on his phone. Keen stepped out, cautious but professional. "Hey, son, is this your car?" The boy looked up, calm, polite, confident. "Yes, sir. Just waiting for someone." "License and registration?" Keen asked, voice steady. The teen hesitated. "It's actually not with me right now, sir. My dad's." Keen cut him off. "You're not supposed to drive without it. Step aside, please." He began checking the tags, scanning the VIN. The system flagged it, unregistered. Within minutes, the car was being hooked up by a tow truck, and the teen just stood there, quiet, almost amused. "Officer," he said softly, "you might want to check again before you tow this car." Keen frowned. "Why is that?" Because, the boy replied, eyes locking on him, "You're about to tow a federal vehicle." Keen froze. He glanced back at the sleek sedan, then at the teen, who didn't look the least bit nervous. "What do you mean, federal vehicle?" The boy slipped a folded card from his pocket and held it out, a gold embossed identification badge. Keen squinted. "Federal Cyber Operations Division." His stomach turned. "Is this some kind of joke?" The teen smiled faintly. "No, sir. My father works with the division. That's his car." "Then why are you driving it?" "Because he asked me to drop something at the tech conference downtown." The boy replied calmly, "I'm licensed. You can check." But Keen's instincts, the same instincts that once cost him his badge, started to stir. He told himself not to jump to conclusions, but part of him still bristled at the calm confidence in the teen's tone. "Until I verify that," Keen said tightly, "this vehicle stays impounded." He radioed dispatch, requesting immediate verification of the license. The dispatcher hesitated. Officer Keen? It says here that plate is protected. Clearance level redacted." "What do you mean, redacted?" "I mean it's locked behind a federal clearance wall, sir." Keen's pulse quickened. The boy sighed softly. "You could have just waited for 5 minutes, officer." "Excuse me?" "Before you ordered the tow. Because now, my dad's probably already seen the GPS alert." Keen frowned. "GPS alert?" The teen nodded toward the sedan. "That car's wired for field monitoring. Any interference sends a ping to the Bureau." Before Keen could respond, the hum of engines filled the air again. 3 black SUVs turned the corner, headlights flashing in formation. Keen's blood ran cold. "No," he muttered under his breath. "Not again." The SUV stopped beside the tow truck. Doors opened in unison. Out stepped Agent Samuel Matthews, the same man whose son, Evan, Keen had once tackled outside the mall. Only this time, the teenager standing beside the towed car wasn't Evan. It was his cousin, Jordan Matthews, also part of the same family. Agent Matthews walked over slowly, sunglasses reflecting the cruiser lights. "Officer Keen," he said evenly. Keen's throat went dry. "Sir, I didn't realize." "You didn't realize again," the agent interrupted. "That seems to be a pattern." Keen lowered his head. "The system flagged the vehicle as unregistered. I was just following protocol," Matthews said sharply, "or impulse." The word stung. The bystanders, students, teachers, a few onlookers with phones, watched from a distance as the tension thickened. Matthews continued, his tone cold but controlled. "You're lucky my nephew didn't record this. He gave you respect, and you still dismissed him." Keen exhaled shakily. "I wasn't trying to." Matthews stepped closer. "Do you know what it takes to regain trust, officer? You can't rebuild it while repeating the same cracks." Keen looked at the ground. "You're right." Matthews studied him for a long, silent moment. Then he turned to the tow truck driver. "Unhook the vehicle," he ordered. Immediately, the driver nodded and began lowering the car back down. The students whispered among themselves, a strange mix of confusion and awe. Keen swallowed his pride and walked up to Jordan. "I'm sorry, son. I jumped ahead again." Jordan gave a small smile. "I know, but you're trying. My uncle told me you're not the same as before." Keen blinked. "He told you that?" Jordan nodded. "He said everyone deserves a chance to learn, but only if they remember the lesson." That line lingered like a mirror. Agent Matthews turned away, signaling his team. "Let's go. This officer has some thinking to do." The next morning, the story hit the town paper again. This time, less sensational, but just as telling. Officer who once tackled teen repeats mistake. Confronted by same family, the department launched another review. But instead of punishment, the chief made a decision that surprised everyone. Keen wouldn't be fired. He'd be reassigned to community mediation training, a pilot program designed to teach officers empathy, restraint, and contextual judgment. He wasn't thrilled, but deep down he knew it was deserved. During the first session, the instructor showed a photo of Evan Matthews, the teenager from months ago, giving a speech at a youth event. The caption read, Power is nothing without patience. Keen couldn't look away. It was like fate wouldn't stop replaying his lesson until it sank in completely. Months later, Keen visited a community outreach event hosted by the Matthews family. To his surprise, Evan was there, standing beside his cousin Jordan, both smiling as they helped young kids build small robots. Keen approached nervously. "Didn't think I'd see you both again." Evan grinned. "We're all just learning, right?" Jordan added, "The point isn't never making mistakes, officer. It's about not repeating the same one twice." Keen nodded slowly. "I think I finally get that." As he watched them interact with the kids, patient, kind, disciplined, he realized something he hadn't before. He hadn't been fighting bad luck. He'd been fighting his own ego. And in that quiet moment, the man once known for impulsive power finally understood the true weight of restraint. Growth doesn't come from avoiding mistakes. It comes from facing them twice and choosing differently the second time.